You're mute. What the? It's like I've never done it before. This is the Ixonia incident stream. Motive and opportunity. As you may or may not know, tomorrow I will be embarking on my journey to Ixonia, Wisconsin, to be in Chad's basement. Although this map says I'll be going through St. Louis, there's an important update. I think I'm going to go through Kansas City instead. I got that Mumford song in my head, so throwing off the assassins with the change of route. If anybody's on that route, holler, you can buy me coffee.
Remember, there is no agency. We want what's best.
So as you know, I'm sure we've made sure that the assassins had plenty of opportunity to come after me during my trip to Ixonia, such that they don't have to bother me at home and still get to make their attempts. Hello, I see the assassins have failed, but keep taking that paycheck, boys. Keep taking that paycheck, but you know. You might not understand why anyone would want to assassinate poor little Grimgriz. And it turns out Paul Vanderclay decided to help with that today. And so we'll be going over the motives and the opportunities, and presenting brand new ones for the assassins before we embark on the road tomorrow. But thanks to your generous donations, oh Shadow Cabal, we have been able to get the tires looked at and the fluids changed and that sort of thing. So it should be a safe trip, if not for the RPGs and or whatever methods they use. Who knows? It's always a fun game. It's always a fun game to see how the assassins are going to come after you. It's all the excitement. Where is it? Did you leave it over there? You did. Sorry, I had to upload something. You know how that goes. Hey, how about them savings throws? Sure. But first,
special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all.
This means that the individual psyche is far from being safely synthesized. On the contrary, it threatens to fragment only too easily under the onslaught of unchecked emotions. While this situation is familiar to us from the studies of anthropologists, it is not so irrelevant to our own advanced civilization as it might seem. We, too, can become dissociated and lose our identity. We can be possessed and altered by moods, lounge or become unreasonable and unable to recall important facts about ourselves or others, so that people ask, "What the devil has gotten into you?" We talk about being able to control ourselves, but self-control is a rare and remarkable virtue. Now, welcome. Hi, KO. Good to see you. Hi, Rascal. Theodore. Close enough, Theodore. Close enough. Hey, Ups. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I have recently watched The Road to Phlebas. I really have. It came out with, it ended up being a tweet that says, "Do you carry the fire?" Or "Do you eat people? Do you carry the fire?" We're going to do some savings throws against magic phrases like that after we say, "Hi, Cassandra. Hi, Anthony." You guys get to choose between survival, social, wisdom, or heart as the basis for your savings throws against my pleas for money and or other advertisings and mind controls you may experience during the show and the rest of your life. You get to pick between survival, social, wisdom, or heart as your basis to resist these forces. I roll the die. If it's over 10, you take half damage. If it's under 10, you take full damage. But remember, everybody, we want what's best for you. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart? Cheers. Really? All right. It wants to be shook some more this time. I don't know. Now? All right. Oh, Indigo out the box. Survivalist with a 14. Socialist, you're going to need your bonuses. That's a 5. You get 5 for a comment replays. Oh, Sophist for you too. 5 as well. Hearts, folks, you got 12 today. You got disciples. Indigo kids, that's prime. 19. Not enough for you to see the die, but there it is anyway. Congratulations, and or I hope you got your bonuses, as the case.
There is no technical difference between thinking about yourself and being miserable.
It is an awful responsibility which has come to us. We thank God that it has come to us. We thank God that it has come to us instead of to our enemies. And we pray that He may guide us to use it in His ways and for His purposes. His purposes, His purposes, His purposes.
Captain Behan, what was your most outstanding experience on this historic flight?
I suppose it was when the clouds opened up over Target and Nagasaki. Target was there pretty as a picture. I made the run, let the bomb go. That was my greatest thrill,
Now, as the journey I'm going on is taking me to Ixonia, I've created the thumbnail and the name of this. You can't do it if the cards are upside down in there, guy. You got to play solitaire to make sure they're all back in there. Anyway, this name Ixonia was weird to me, and it stuck out, and it was just very, very curious. And it might have been because I used to fly in a different galaxy with a guy named Ixhala that it stood out to me, or just Ix itself is a sticky thing. And as such, I delved into the history of such a town since I couldn't find any etymology of it. Casino card, 3 of hearts for today's show.
Something you could do that you are regarding as trivial, that you could do, that you would do, that would result in an actual improvement, but it's not a big enough improvement for you, so you won't lower yourself enough to take the opportunity.
Hi, this is Paul. I know.
Okay, and then so there it was. I looked it up a little bit, and check this out. Check this out. They were splitting up. They split up a town named Union into two parts. One was called Concord because they all agreed to do it. The other side of the town number 8, They couldn't figure out how to name the town, so they decided to have. They put letters of the alphabet on slips of paper and had young Mary Piper draw them until a name could be formed. And thus Ixonia became a place that Grimgriz ended up going to one day. Isn't that interesting? I wonder whatever became of young Mary Piper. And so that explains the Ixonia part of the Ixonia incident. We're predicting there will be one. There will be one thanks to me being able to go to Ixonia, thanks to the Shadow Cabal. It's right there. You can try and assassinate me if you want, but I'll be coming from Kansas City. Okay, and then and then I put that guy on there because I'm making a patron Noel King in the Friends AD&D game, and I need a name for that guy too. Any suggestions for the name for the Noel King? That'd be great. And coincidentally, we'll get into that part next. Okay. And so it came to pass that I got this Noel King to name, and he kind of looks like a hyena man. And then out of the blue, Neutrino, who usually fills up the Discord with all sorts of interesting things, specifically messages me with an interesting thing, and it's about were hyenas, which a hyena is a lot like a Noel. They often look, the King of Diamonds is the Blue Church card of the show. The one of the effects of the demon god of the Knolls in D&D is to create have regular hyenas eat the corpses of the things it kills, and then those turn. Anyway, it's gross but he ends up DMing me this myth of the were hyena, and it turns out the myth of the were hyena and the fear of the other in the Horn of Africa. And it turns out, of course, if you go far enough, it's anti-Semites. They're the ones that were calling the blacksmiths hyenas because that's the only job they could do was blacksmithery. And it just all comes back to anti-Semitism again. Thanks, Neutrino, for that. Thank you for that. Excellent. It turns out that we might have a Paul Vanderklay in the hive mind for the baseless allegations I'm about to drop. And meanwhile, somebody smeared Vaseline on his camera lens. It's freaky. That's one of McMo's. He's here. Okay, and here we are. Ixonia does have a certain interplanetary sound to it, Cassandra. I completely agree. Okay, and then yeah, this is the motive and opportunity live stream. See here, this is the thumbnail, but the title of it is motive and opportunity because special thanks to the Shadow Cabal, I'm able to go to Ixonia, Washington, and be in Chad's basement, and that will give the assassins the opportunity to assassinate me. But what could possibly be the motive? Well, thanks to Pastor Paul's masterful return from Ark, he's decided to provide them an opportunity to assassinate me by featuring such wonderful clips of my. Or he just ran the whole speech, and at first I was just like, "Cool, he's running the whole thing," and then there's the Gaza joke like right off the beginning, and I'm like, "Oh boy, he's actually running this." We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see doing what is right for me. Is lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency. And as I watched the masterful speaker give the speech that Pastor Paul was running, it ran into this part where I was. No, that's not weird for Paul to run that. Is it too fast? Are we too fast right now? No.
And she responded with crystalline clarity, quote, "Here, he is here to invoke and initiate the divine masculine principle on earth at this time."
Like, that was no surprise, but did Paul actually ran a thing that had this in it?
In my living room, and then I had this very strange experience, the sky opening up and God sort of peering forth through the clouds, and that's exactly what seemed to happen.
Like, are you sure CAA is going to be okay with that, Pastor Paul? But then it goes as far. This is in there. Even this is in there.
I would say that as spokesfrog, I'm announcing that there's something polluted about the water in which.
And then it occurred to me, it was like, all right, Grim, what's going on here? All right, what happened? What happened to you, Paul? What happened at the Ark? Did I see? First, I thought it was like maybe Peterson didn't come shake your hand, and that was why it was okay for you to run this. But no. In watching my speech, I saw the part where I said, "I'm talking to Pajot, my friend Pajot." Oh, not so much, my friend. I think it was that. I think Pajot didn't come over and shake your hand at the Ark speech, and that is why you have now turned on them and are running anti-Peterson Grim Grizz propaganda, and I love it. I love it. Oh, boy.
Now, what'll that asshole think of next? Is anybody got a dime? I don't know.
And before we go on to give them even more motive to have me assassinated, we have looked in. Remarkable phenomenon has occurred. I created a thread in the Discord for astroturfing so we could learn more about it, and thanks to Upcycle, this magically appeared.
If you pay somebody to go through internet making nice comments about your company and your product, that is astroturfing. Yeah, it's comments about a product, a service, a policy, which appear to come from ordinary members of the public, but in fact they don't. Yeah, they come from actors or people who are working for the company. Yeah, it's like orchestrated marketing or public relations, making people think that, well, everybody supports this. Yeah, and that's the idea. Idea is to present things as unsolicited comments, to make something look like community mobilization.
Oh, I needed a couple more bing, bing, bing. Would you rather have a frog in your bed, or what the heck kind of hive mind thing is going on out there? What's going on out there? Okay, welcome everybody. We're at the Motive and Opportunity stream. And so far, we've given a group of assassins associated with Jordan Peterson and friends motive enough to kill me on my trip to Ixania, if they can. Ha ha ha. However, that is not nearly enough motive and/or opportunity. So let's give them some more, shall we? Right after this. Thank you, Rascal.
Love is worth saving.
I don't know love.
Now encompasses everything. Does it not?
It's all there is.
It's all there is.
You choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart.
See, you've given yourself up. But this is the most powerful thing that can be done. Surrender. See, and love is an act of surrender to another person. Total abandonment. I give myself to you. Take me, do anything you like with me. See? So, and that's quite mad. So we come to the strange conclusion that in madness lies sanity.
And now, before Paul went on to run the entire speech I conducted for ARC in my Imaginarium, which even that was in there about them. I wouldn't be surprised if Paul ends up taking it down. But before he does, it's called Paul Back in the Sack, Grim Grizz, and a bunch of cool stuff. Where are we? We're at 8 minutes. We have to get back to 8 minutes. But it's called PBK Back in the Sack, Grim Grizz, TLC narrative on ramp, and JBP as the Joker, paid by the King. And I'm not even showing it to you. It looks like that. Unless you see the thumbnail, which is this bad boy right there. That's the bad boy thumbnail he used. Look at that. It's even got the keck hat right next to his little jester suit. When it was everything. It's beautiful. A thing of beauty. But he's back in the sack. And one thing, it's sort of as if he was requesting recompense. There was a homework assignment, but before the homework assignment, there was a lamenting of loss of the beautiful commute. And so we find it well worthwhile to run this branding at least one last time.
And now, this program is brought to you by
Last TV on here. Why would we need a TV? A darn TV. Why on earth would you put a TV in here? A darn TV. Why on earth would you put a TV in here? Why would we need a TV? A darn TV. A darn TV. A darn TV. Why on earth would you put a TV in here? Last TV on here. Why would we need a TV? Why on earth a darn TV? Why on earth would you put a TV in here?
All right, good news, bad news. I have to get some coffee. So while the first bit of this is where we get the homework assignment, I don't know how much more of it you're going to have to hear overwards. Well, but then we're going to do the homework assigned. So pay anyway.
What's as we watch scenes that we should in any way lack.
I'm going to take it to 7:33 and go from there. I'll be right back.
Most undoable command, but and none of that means that we should in any way lack take away from our responsibility. The responsibility Alliance for Responsible Citizens, that sort of is at the heart of ARC. It's the middle word, but Peterson is playing sort of a Joker role in some ways as we watch the unfolding of whatever it is that we are in the middle of. I've been listening to Alistair McGrath's biography of Lewis. This is my second time through it. and really appreciating it more, especially in the context of what's going on now. Listen to the Dave Rubin, Eric Weinstein. It's just a 20-minute video. It was recorded at ARC. Eric was very much in the same mindset when I had my small conversation with him. And I'm going to do a video on that video, understanding kind of the role Eric is playing in this. So, yep, that's enough for now. I'm going to abut the...
Abut. He's gonna abut it. Hey, bongers. All right. Editing skills unmet. Okay. Now, so that was the homework assigned. The homework was assigned was to watch that Rubin fella and that Weinstein fella. And I've done that. And I have the 3 relevant timestamps we'll be going over shortly. But first, this one.
Tell me that you've lived here your whole life. No, not yet. Are you married? No bad habit. No bad habit, eh? Well, what do you chew that tobacco for? For nothing. Nobody's fool enough to pay me for it. Well, tell me, how far is it to the next crossroads? Follow your nose and you'll come to it. Follow your nose, follow your nose and you.
Welcome to the Ixonia Incident Stream, Motive and Opportunity. If you've been with us so far, you should have had your mind control saves against the notion of why would anyone assassinate Grim Grizz? And now you should understand that the JBP and the CAA would have such a motive thanks to the prominent response of Pastor Paul to his ARC attendants of letting Grim Grizz throw out all of his dirty laundries. Even the Church of Metropolitan was in there, or the Metropolitan of the Church of Not Following Stupid Rules was in there. And but as such, as you've dealt with so much mind control, and I'm now bringing out the homework where we've been assigned to listen to a word wizard cast spells on the populace. I'm going to give you all bonus savings throws, and remember, savings throws are determined by your choice of survival, social, wisdom, or heart as the basis for those savings throws, and then I roll the dice. But this one, I don't know. You're going to need your bonuses. You get a +2 for chatting in the hive mind, but this is that Weinstein fella, you know. And he's with that Rubin cat. I think I'll even give you guys an extra casino card. Choose, but choose wisely. That one, sure.
I saw you toss the kites on high above the birds about the sky, and all around I heard you pass like lady skirts across the grass. Oh, wind blowing all day long. Oh, wind that sings so loud a song. I saw the different things you did, but always you yourself you hid. I felt you push, I heard you call, I could not see yourself at all. Oh, wind blowing all day long. Oh,
Once again, special thanks to the Shadow Cabal that has made this Exonia incident possible, and everything else we do around here, as well as those who contribute and participate in the creation of such beautiful brandings. McMo has done some, Up has done some, we got some new ones from Rascal. It's amazing how much we can all come together for this. And here's the casino card before your saves versus Weinstein. Woo, ace of diamonds. I wonder if that's a warning. Here we go. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Cheers. Oh, survivalist. That's a 9 for you. Only need a +1 to make it. Socialist, you're at 5 again, I think. Is it not? Wow, look at that. Wisdom and heart teaming up both with a 16. I think you did some wombo combo lobster monkey thing there. Indigo, folks, on the other hand, that's just a trinity for you. So just batten down your hatches. Now, as the homework was between this this conversation here, between this man and this other man, one of which you've been warned about, here's part worth discussing.
If they're going to hit ice one year and they realize that you have to change.
Oh, wait, I listened to it phased. Hold on. I listened. Stop. I listened to it phased. And you know they have clips turned off because they're jackholes.
I give the analogy that if you have a river that has always been flowing and one year you have unseasonably cold temperatures, it freezes over. People think they can do what they've always done. They can dive off the rock into the river. And if they're going to hit ice one year and they realize that you have to change your behavior when there's a phase change. I think that many of the recourses that we've thought about, free markets, free speech, democracy, have to be rethought if they become gamed. And I think one of the things that we're experiencing is we don't know whether to roll back to a previous version of ourselves, which would be like trying to find safe mode on a computer where the operating system has become corrupted, or whether we need to go forward for things that aren't capitalism or communism, aren't democracy, because in fact,
well, if that's not a false dynamic. First of all, I was triggered because he said operating system.
To roll back, one of free speech, democracy have to be rethought if they become gamed. And I think one of the things that we're experiencing is we don't know whether to roll back to a previous version of ourselves, which would be like trying to find safe mode on a computer where the operating system has been cut.
See, I don't know if you're aware, Mr. Weinstein, but the American Constitution contains this clause called Article 5, in which residents such as myself can get their state legislatures to call a constitutional convention. You see, the Constitution is the operating document software OS of our country. We can amend it. They call it the Bloodless Revolution Clause. We have one here. Maybe nobody else does, but we invoke it by making our state legislature, guys. Have you heard of states? There's like 50 of them, but it's how we make sure everybody gets a little voice in what happens to everybody. And they have these little things called legislatures that used to have a lot more power before they started taking federal money for roads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, we have a clause for that. We don't need to throw anything out. It's Article 5. Me and Kale talked about it, right, Kale? Right. Yeah, it looked like they were in survival pods on an ark, and that's super lame. Super lame. Next thing he said worth our time is at 3:02, I think.
That if I think about the early work you and I did together, we were talking about fake news and what was coming. It was pretty prophetic, though. That stuff held up pretty well.
You're on the short list of people that I would say that interviews actually do stand up. And
I'm sorry to interrupt. Sometimes the hive mind says something that just can't go unanswered. Kale Zeldin says you should teach AP Gov, and I think he means government grip. And Kale, to that I say, given the level of sexual education we're giving first graders, maybe I should teach first grade government.
that if I think about the early work you and I did together, we were talking about fake news and what was coming. It was pretty prophetic, though. That stuff held up pretty well.
You're on the short list of people that I would say the interviews actually do stand up, and we're ballpark
right back at you.
Or let's say directionally right about where this was going to go.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we're sort of in the prequel version of Star Wars now, when Yoda says, "What failed we have." That seems like in some respect.
Well, and somebody tried to execute Order 66, and so the Jedi, were put under a lot of pressure. But one of the things that I really appreciate is the number of people who've had their relationships strained by the relentless attack we've all been under. You used to be a liberal and a lefty. I'm still in that position. And the fact is that we're still talking.
We're still here, man.
Well, and
sorry for the distraction, but you were witnessing two men engage in mutual verbal fellatio, and I wanted you to get to the fist bump without having to actually focus on it if you didn't want to.
A large number of us never stopped talking to each other. Some people have stopped talking to us, but one of the things that I think is really impressive is the extent to which we have held together. And even if I disagree with some of the positions you've now adopted, whatever, the same rules go.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is, if we want to do the same thing we were doing all those years ago, we have to figure out what are the edgy things nobody's prepared to think that unfortunately are going to be prophetic. And I think one of them is going to be that you can't simply keep invoking democracy, the free movement of people, diversity is our strength, et cetera, because it's going into a place that's going to be anything but tolerant. We're going to have to learn, for example, that we must be intolerant of intolerance to be tolerant. It's like multiplying -1 times -1.
And see that part there, this we must be intolerant of intolerance. That's the origin, that's the root, that's the punch a Nazi that started this whole thing, Eric. The whole thing started because of the punch of Nazis.
One to get a positive number. And I think people are afraid that they're going to have to turn against things that have always been true. But like that winter where suddenly things are colder than usual, the river stops.
Oh, guys, you guys are going to have to get comfortable with totalitarianism. Eric, no, we don't. No, we don't. However, there was one really important thing he did get to, and right. Let's see here, I think.
Yep.
We'll do this.
I'm talking as fast as I can.
You'll come to Miami. We'll do a proper one, or we'll do it on Skype in the meantime. But I just want to. I'm really trying to nail down. I'm trying to nail down the speech component of this. So when you tell me that so the river to the sea is a genocidal chant.
Yep.
In Florida, DeSantis has passed laws. We banned some of these protests because he's talking about material.
And he makes us uncomfortable by banning speech.
However, it's material support, but yes, people are arguing that he's banning speech.
My point is that he's recognized.
This is where
the phase transition.
Right. So how do we encourage that while being respectful of the ideas and ideals that we care about? How do we make sure that we have the proper tools, which is what he's done, to export to the rest of the country and maybe the world?
It has to do with the fact that you need an interpretation of the world that allows you not to have a suicide pact. Democracy is not a suicide pact. Free speech is not a suicide pact. Tolerance is not a suicide pact. Immigration is not a suicide pact. When you start to realize that someone has gamed your culture, there are times when you have to uninvite a dinner guest. And the fact of the matter is we're being given a choice. And the choice is, do you wish to have a naive relationship to your ideas and the gamers come in from outside and weaponize these things against you? Or do you actually realize that you're being called upon to say, what is the soul and intent of free speech, the soul and intent of democracy? And so you're being given a choice between the letter and the intent. For example, if you take the First Amendment of the Constitution, it says,
who's giving us that choice? You're the first person I've seen presenting it as such.
Congress may make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Somebody says, well, jihad is part of my religion. I am entitled by the First Amendment to practice it, and I will do it with your children.
That's his banger sentence, right? That's the banger worth hearing that Eric gave us from this one.
Let's take the First Amendment of the Constitution. It says Congress may make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Somebody says, well, jihad is part of my religion. I am entitled by the First Amendment to practice it, and I will do it with your children. No, you won't. No.
The thing I put over on the After Dark channel, because I didn't want this one taken down, applies in this situation. It's like the best line is freedom of religion include jihadine religions? And if it doesn't, do we need a constitutional convention to amend about that? Because the NATO has been funding immigration of military-aged Muslims into our country for quite some time across the open borders where there was no wall. And we're about to wake up to that fact while we're busy watching what's happening in the Middle East. Like this. Do you let me do transcripts? Do you let me do transcripts? Yes, good. You said, what was it? Hydrogen, I think is the word I'm looking for. Hydrogen. There it is. This part.
They really present. India-Pakistan remains incredibly potent. Iran and Israel are poised for something, and people have to realize you've never seen a hydrogen bomb used in anger.
I'm afraid that there are books in the Old Testament that sound a whole lot like prophecies about one of those going off in Gaza. Look into it. Let me know what you find. There's plenty of reasons for people to assassinate me on the way to Ixonia. I think we've established sufficient motive, don't you, Grim? Why, no, sir. No, sir. Don't forget the peri-peri. You see, the thing that we educated you over on the After Dark channel about jihad is that it goes in 3 stages. And like, if you do a little universal history of Mecca, this place called Mecca, and what happened there, you can see how it happened in 3 separate stages, depending on the amount of Othello chips flipped over on the board in favor of the you'll either all die or be enslaved to the one true God. People. And so, but the history of that place, it happened in 3 stages, and those 3 stages aren't necessarily limited to a religious group, or they could also be applied to a pseudo-religious group that reproduces via sodomy. What? A pseudo-religious? Yes, like a homo jihad. What? Oh, well, there. Now you guys have now if I get assassinated on the way to Ixonia or the way back, you have several suspects as who might have been motivated to do so. And I am happy to provide you such as underneath the Canary Protocol and as a member of the Sacred Order of Foolish Transparency. This has been the Ixonia Incident Stream. I'm Grim Grizz, and I don't know, I'll check in with the Hive Mind.
Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all.
Like love. Love is worth saving.
I don't know love.
Now encompasses everything. Does it not?
It's all there is.
It's all there is.
You choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart.
See, you've given yourself up. But this is the most powerful thing that can be done. Surrender. See, and love is an act of surrender to another person. Total abandonment. I give myself to you. Take me, do anything you like with me. See? So, and that's quite mad. So we come to the strange conclusion that in madness lies sanity.